Hello, everybody. Let me see what we got here. I've got a question already. Awesome. Hey guys, I am Trav. I'm the Managing Director of Neighbourhood. And today we put together this webinar specifically for people. We get a lot of questions asked to us about for us to do their video marketing. And it's kind of been a topic that's been kind of coming up quite often with a lot of conversations along the way. We only really recently sort of started about 3 to 4 months ago, I guess, with video. This whole webinar, I guess, is to talk about our journey and what our journey has been along the whole way. If you've got any, like I mentioned before, if you've got any questions, I already see a question already up there as well. But if there's any questions around what you're currently doing, even if to get started, just throw it in the chat pane on the right-hand side, and I can get them answered for you as well. I've got also a few polls that are going to be asked during the whole process. They're just to sort of get a bit of an idea about what everybody else is doing within the group, and I'll share those results as well. So things around if anyone's currently using them or where a lot of the lead sources are coming from. You'll see a few polls, and I'll reach out to them as well a bit later on. But to get cracking off, I'm just running about 3 screens here, so I'm going to try and figure out which one I'm on. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to share with you my screen. Okay, if anybody at the moment can't see that screen that I'm sharing, just give me a shout and let me know. Otherwise, we'll get cracking along the way anyway. So, like I sort of mentioned, my name's Trav, Managing Director here. I started Neighbourhood would be close to maybe about over 5 years ago. I originated all the way back from a creative agency where I was doing a whole bunch of creative. Digital for me sort of seemed a little bit more intriguing, so I dived into digital. And then after about a year, I was starting to really understand it and get really familiar with it. We sort of reached out to Hubspot and became a Hubspot partner along the way. We've also partnered with a whole bunch of other different software platforms, but it's been a really good journey. And everything that you hear from us on our website, on our emails, on our webinars, we're basically sharing with you the experience that we've had in the process of doing what we do and sharing you the results that we do as well. So everything that you've got here has been trialed and tested. We do it ourselves every single day. So I'm not coming to you and saying we're an expert in any single way because of this and because of data. The stuff that we have done is basically we've trialed and tested it ourselves. I sort of touched on it a little bit before as well, is that in this whole webinar, I'm definitely not claiming to be an expert in any way, shape or form. I dislike those people that call themselves experts, but more so, again, touching on what we were sort of speaking about before, is that we're sharing with you our experiences, more so the experiences of what we've done over the last 3 months, the change that's happened to our business, but more so we can share with you the learnings that we've got so that you guys don't have to wade through all the crap that we kind of went through along the way. So, I thought I'd start just to sort of say exactly who this is for. If people in this sort of webinar that we've got at the moment don't fit this specific category in any way, shape or form, you might get a little bit of value from it, but essentially this webinar is solely for companies that are looking just to get extra traffic to their websites. There's a considerable amount of companies and organizations that we work with that are doing a lot of social, a lot of paid, a lot of email marketing, a lot of SEO outreach and things like that. This is a really good opportunity if you've kind of exhausted some of those channels yourself to be able to try and get extra channels or traffic to your websites. So it's definitely for those type of people. The next one is it's for companies that are looking to differentiate themselves from their competitors. So we kind of work with a lot of different clients in a lot of different industries, you know, it's definitely a noisy space in a majority of the industries that we work in. There are very few people, I guess, in a lot of industries that are really excelling in video and doing it really well. There's a good friend of mine and a client of ours who works in the finance space, and he has been doing video religiously, and he's very consistent with what he does, and he cannot stop the inquiries coming through. He sort of mentioned on a few occasions that every single time he puts a video up, it's almost like an instant lead generation tool. So for us and working with him, it's to be able to free up his time through a lot of automation and marketing so that he can actually go and shoot more video, because if he shoots more video, then he'll obviously get a few more knocks on the door, which is pretty cool. It's for companies and organizations that are looking to generate more qualified leads into their funnel. What I mean by that is that lead forms on Facebook, Google Ads, we've all kind of been there. We all get those leads and we get those inquiries coming in, but a lot of those inquiries that we have, oh man, I don't know how many times I've sort of had conversations with tire kickers, and it sort of just drags out your day. What we're finding that is really great with video is that companies that are looking to implement video, the leads and the people that are coming through are far more qualified than say a Facebook lead ad, definitely a Facebook lead ad, but for Google Ads or anything paid on that matter. I kind of almost put it in the same realm as organic traffic, only because they're familiar with you. They've sort of almost created a bit of a bond, a relationship with you because they've been speaking to you. But they also kind of get a bit of a sense of culturally who you are. So it's definitely for organizations that are looking to generate more qualified leads into the funnel. So what else we got here? And this is definitely for people that have kind of like tried video in the past, never quite got it off the ground. They're worried that, you know, their video is going to look like crap. They're looking at other people doing videos and it looks so nice and polished, and they kind of got up, lost confidence or lost consistency with what they do. So this is definitely for you guys as well. For people that are currently doing video and currently doing a lot of video, I go through the basics of video marketing in this essence here. I believe you will get a little bit of value out of it, but if you're kind of like already sort of doing a bit of video marketing, I think that there's probably only one or two things you'll be surprised with this one. So there's a picture of me in my shorts. You can't see them in the video, but this is pretty much where we shoot. We shoot about 1 or 2 days a week. I come in at about 7 a.m. in the morning, and we sort of spend from 7 to 8:30, 2 days a week shooting videos. I know it kind of looks, that new little screen that we got, we actually got it like literally on Monday. There's a reason for that, just because we wanted consistency through our video. But something to note about video as well is that I think that everybody definitely defaults to saying that this is definitely an expensive route for me to go down. And look, it can be, definitely can be. This webinar specifically is for people that you can start today or tomorrow and just get going. There's definitely, as you scale and grow your audience, there's definitely a natural progression to improve your products or service or your outcomes of what you do. But it's definitely not hard to get started. It's definitely not expensive to get started. The camera that we use today is the camera that I take traveling with me. And it's an awesome camera, don't get me wrong, but I already had that camera and we're shooting on that. So it didn't cost me anything to actually start shooting these videos. So it's not expensive to get started. One big thing, and this is just from like trial and error and learning from a lot of mistakes, is that you kind of really need to be organized with the schedule of production. Now, the reason for that is that you need to be consistent with the video that you output for a few reasons. There's definitely some SEO benefits, but also from an audience perspective, you need to have a consistent cadence of production or a consistent cadence of videos going out. This is kind of where we've seen best bang for buck in a great way. One big thing that I will say is that you definitely need to be organized with the schedule of it, and you need to be consistent with you know, when you push the videos out and produce them. Let's try and get here. Again, that brings me to, you need to commit to your plans. I'm just kind of doubling up on what I said before. And then I think lastly is you kind of need to review the data often, especially in the early days. You kind of really need to get a good understanding about what's working, what's not working, and really start to tweak some of the content that you're doing. And we did this early on in the piece, and I'll share with you the platforms that we use in order to get that data. It makes it a little bit easier if you have got a platform and you can sort of see what's going on there. But you definitely need to review the data, especially early on in the piece. So I always ask why video, and I wasn't aware of how hairy the back of my arm was until today. This is literally us getting shot yesterday morning. You'll see a picture of me in the background there. That's only for us to get consistency of what the frame looks like. We actually purchased that little monitor at the very top there to help us out with that, because what we were finding is that I was kind of like to the left, to the right, I was up, I was down, and there was no consistency. So that's the reason for that. But so why video? Get carried away there. You'll hear all these stats about why it's better and why it's, I mean, I just kind of feel like everybody's sort of saying, why video, why video? I'm giving you this from our experience. I'm not going to pull any statistics and say Forbes mentioned that 67% does this or 67% does that. I'm just going to go on the fact of what my experience has been like. I'm no expert. I'll bring that up again. So have a think about last time that you kind of digested content and what you were reading and what you were watching. So whether you're at the beach, bus, train, or whether you're driving, definitely audio for that. But have a think about exactly how you were consuming that content and what the split of that content would look like. Obviously, video is starting to become a little bit more prevalent in Facebook and Instagram, and definitely in LinkedIn as well now. But just have a little bit of a think to yourself at the moment, like how are you consuming the stuff that you're reading or watching? So even television as well. So you kind of get a bit of a good idea. Is that one, I do enjoy reading. I'm not very good at writing, but I've definitely signed up for YouTube Premium, and I probably would spend a good 70 to 80% consuming content on video rather than reading. A bit lazy. So the viewers, this is Olivia. She looks like she works at Channel 7. She's definitely. So the viewers use video for commuting to and from work. I don't catch the bus, but there's definitely a large, or bus or train, there's a large amount of people that are actually commuting to and from work that do use these services as well. Studying and researching, I think that's a bit of a given. And that's not necessarily for university or for graduates or anything like that. That's basically researching for businesses as well. People are going out there and looking on how to do things themselves. This is a very example of that in real play, is that people are looking to do this sort of stuff themselves, and they'll research it so that they can bring that in within their business themselves. The next one, and this is definitely personal, it's a lot easier to digest a video than it is to write an article. The stuff that I'll show you today just takes probably the same amount of time, if not quicker, to produce rather than actually go ahead and write a whole article. Depends on obviously the content, but I'll sort of take you through on this as well. The next one is it's easier to offer contextualized support. So I think that even just with what I'm doing now, you're able to contextualize the subject matter that you're talking about in a great way. And also you can sort of segment what you're talking about per topic, if you will. But I'll dig into that a little bit more as well. I think that definitely I learn a lot more, and I think a lot of people here at Neighbourhood learn a lot more. One thing that we do just to sort of better ourselves is we use the Hubspot Academy. Hubspot Academy has literally hundreds and thousands of hours, or probably thousands of hours of content to help us learn. So what we do is that they're 4 to 5 hours in content video watching, and there's probably about a 2-hour exam. Everything that we've kind of learned in the last 5 years that we've gone, test and filed, we've really learned from watching videos, doing exams, and then trial and testing it ourselves. So from a personal experience, and hopefully you guys can agree, you definitely get a lot more value out of watching content because it's easily digestible and it's contextual to what you're obviously looking for. A second. All right. As we go through, got another question through. I'll ping it up in a little bit of time. Last one is toilet. Yes. Now I will talk from experience, but I'll also talk from data that we've got as well. Is that a lot of people consume a lot of content on the toilet. the amount of content that consumed on the toilet is substantial. I haven't really mentioned it too much in this presentation, but closed captioning, people are actually watching the content without audio. I know this morning I woke up and I was sort of like watching a lot about this coronavirus sort of stuff, and I know that Angela was asleep next to me, so I was kind of watching closed caption. So people do consume a lot of content on the toilet. Exciting times, exciting times. So, so you want to kick off your video marketing. This is basically the 6th step. I never really wanted to be the person that does a 6-step thing, but one, we're going to look at the equipment that you need. So I'm going to deep dive into everything that I've got and everything that I've done. I can promise you that I have gone and I've researched every single little part of everything that's not only cost effective, but that actually looks really cool and looks professional as much as possible without spending a lot of money. We'll deep dive into the content, so actually creating the content to talk about. Once you've shot the content, then it's obviously distributing that into the relevant channels within your business. One, you review the data and obviously see what works, tweak it a little bit, and then now we go back to step 2. We do the content distribution data, content distribution data, and then now this is your life. I'm going to break down into each of these individual categories right now, and I might flick from, I'll flick from this presentation to the video so that I can kind of show you the actual stuff that I'm doing. All right, before we actually deep dive into each of the little nitty gritty, there's one last thing that I want to do, and it's before we get started, that this is the one thing that every single person seems to get hung up on before they get started or even start thinking about video marketing. I was lucky enough to go to Boston in September last year, and I got to meet heaps of agencies around the world that are doing some really cool stuff. I ran into a guy by the name of George B. Thomas, and if you're unaware of George B. Thomas is within the Hubspot community, super animated, lovely guy, and I look up to him in a lot of respects in regards to video, because I think he pushed me over the edge with this next comment that I'm about to make that just made me say, screw it, let's just go ahead and do it. So the one thing he did say, that's the big fella there, is it isn't about getting it perfect when you start video, it's about getting started and just making improvements along the way. And I think that that was kind of like, I guess, the biggest aha moment for me to say, like, because I was like, oh, I don't have the right camera, I need to get lighting, I need to spend all this money on lighting, I need to get microphones, I need to do this. The whole idea of getting everything started kind of hindered me to go, well, you know what, I'm just going to go back to Google Ads, or I'm going to go back to email marketing, or I'm going to focus on something else. I took this advice and I ran with it, and I'm very thankful for George for giving me this advice, because we actually started, and I'll be honest with you, the first video that we did was okay, but as we go through, look at the data, you know, as we sort of get feedback from a lot of the videos from a lot of our clients, or even people watching on YouTube, we're actually going through and making improvements along the way. So I think I definitely got a little bit worried about people judging me and saying, oh, well, this agency looks like crap, or people that are doing this looks like crap. For me, it was just really about getting started. And I think that this is the #1 piece of advice that I can offer for you guys. I'm going to start a poll up here while I continue talking. I kind of just wanted to ask a question of who currently uses video in their current marketing suite. So on the right-hand side, left-hand side, whichever side that we're looking at, I kind of just wanted to ask the question, who's currently using video in their marketing? And I'll share the results with everybody so they can just get a bit of an understanding about exactly like who's actually using it and who's not. So I'm going to leave that up there, and I'll continue, and I'll share the results just a little bit after I close it. All right. Well, 75% of people are saying no. Here we go. Oops. Oh, no, we've gone back up, 60%. All right, we'll leave that open for a little bit longer, and we'll get stuck into the next slide. All right, I'm going to close the poll. Okay, I'm closing the poll now. So the results for that, everybody. So we're sort of seeing that with people that are kind of currently in here, we're looking at 57% of people are not using video in their marketing, and 43% are actually using. So it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, actually. So that's really good. So hopefully some of the stuff that I'm going to show you today will kind of help you, I guess, one, be confident or structure what you do in order to sort of push it out a little bit further. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the equipment, and I'm going to sort of break down each of the equipment that we use. Again, there's better stuff out there. Don't get me wrong. There's heaps of better stuff out there. So don't judge us for what we've got. I guess more so we're sharing with you what we're using, and hopefully you guys can sort of take that away with you. So you can see this camera that we've got here. I bought this camera a couple of years ago. I love to travel and I love photography. I think I bought this before I went to New Zealand, I think it was. So I got started just with the camera that I've got. It's a 4K camera. It's a Fujifilm. It's called an X-T2. I think I bought it on eBay, I think it was. So it was secondhand, and I sort of bought it, and I started with that anyway. That's probably the first thing that I'm going to say. I'm probably getting a bit ahead of myself there, is start with something that you already have. I guess that's going to give you no excuses to not start. One part that's, hang on. So iPhones aren't actually that bad. Most of the new iPhones can actually be shot in 4K. If people are worried that they need a really expensive camera, you're spending about $2,500 for a camera in your pocket. So my suggestion is that you haven't started with video and you're looking for something to get you started. I think an iPhone is a really good example. Have a look around the house if you have got a camera, a travel camera, or anything along those lines. Use that. Reach out to me if you have got something and you kind of unsure whether. Most cameras actually have a video feature within those. So have a look at what you've got and get started, or ask the boss or ask the company to purchase something. I've got some recommendations on which one to buy if you do want to get there. Ahead of myself here. So if all else fails, just to get started, there is a really good camera. It's a good overall camera. It's definitely not the best. It's definitely not the worst, but it's the A6000 Sony. It's available anywhere. You can buy it online. It's usually around about $600. I believe there's probably some deals kicking around on eBay at the moment, 20% off. But I think that's a really good starting camera. It's not too similar to what I've got here. It will shoot beautiful video, and it'll look really good. The A6000 video, I won't click on that just yet. I will send everybody the deck for this so that you can go have a look. But that link that you can sort of see there gives you an idea of what's possible or what could be shown, what could be shot with the A600. I believe this is a video that I kind of found online of a travel blogger, and I think it was him going through Sweden, and it's amazing, beautiful video. But it kind of like, you're kind of like, wow, this $600 camera actually produced this stuff. So it's actually really, really good. I suggest what I'll do. I'm not too sure that I can actually copy that. I'll send it to you guys afterwards anyway. So that's the camera side of things. That's kind of what we use. There's an SD card in there that we use. It's pretty easy. Oh, there's a tripod that we got as well. I bought that online. Everything I buy on eBay. The next I kind of wanted to move into is the lighting side of things. So we started shooting without lighting, and it looks okay. It kind of looked a little bit, it looked a bit dull. And so I kind of went out and I did a whole bunch of research into lighting and what lighting could do. This lighting that you can kind of see here, it's an LED light. It literally, like, it's super cheap. It really makes the video. It will make the video look a whole lot better as opposed to when we first did it. The LED lighting is super cheap. Like, it's crazy cheap. I think I've got it here, but like this lighting setup that I've got with this LED lighting, it literally cost 89 AUD. That got me 2 lights, so 2 of those lights. It literally got me 2 tripods, and I think I also got a whole bunch of little like camera mounts and things like that for it as well. That literally was $89. I believe that since we started using lighting, it definitely just looks a whole lot more polished. It looks a lot more professional. And this is kind of what I was talking about a little bit before, about how you just have to consistently become better and slowly get better and sort of get that feedback from people that are giving it to you, whether it's clients or whether it's in the comment section. Take that feedback or ask for that feedback and start sort of just improving what you've got. And that's literally what we've been doing. On the back here, I'm not too sure if everyone can see my video, but on the back here, you can basically sort of increase the intensity for the LED lighting. I guess it's just about sort of making sure that it looks right and it doesn't look like a Hollywood production or anything. It just looks normal. You don't want it to sort of seem too overdone, in my honest opinion. And this is for pieces to camera as well. There's the link that I've got there. Again, I'll share this with you guys afterwards in an email, just with all the relevant YouTube links, and I'll send you an email out with all these details here. But there's a link to buy that, the very same one that we've got. Again, super cheap, easy to use. It comes with batteries, battery chargers, all that sort of jazz, so it's pretty cool. I always sort of say you should be shooting with 3 lights, but this one only came with 2 lights. There's always a good rule of thumb if you are using lighting and LED lighting, always have 3 essentially. You've got to have one on the side, one on the front, and one at the back, sort of hitting your shoulder. In this instance of what I've got, I always sort of put one camera to the front. I'll always get sort of a camera sort of off to the side, so it's sort of like just bouncing off the shoulder. That's to sort of show a little bit of depth of field, and you don't look too flat. Essentially, you should be using 3 lights. I've only got 2. It's $89. I'm not a professional, but just letting you guys know, you know, you can sort of use that. One big thing that I also had as well is that these little batteries in the back here, we'll go ahead and sort of do like an hour or 2 hours of shooting. And then what we'll do is we'll come in the next morning and we'll forget to charge the batteries. That's kind of like the biggest thing. And it's weird because it's the smallest thing that you completely forget about. So you kind of get in at 7 a.m. in the morning to shoot all the video, and then all of a sudden the batteries are flat. Now you've got to wait like a half an hour to an hour for them to all charge. So my recommendation, especially with the camera, the iPad stuff that I'm about to talk about, you know, even the monitor and everything that we've got, just as soon as you finish, make sure you charge your batteries. Just put them on the batteries. Just do it, because there's nothing like getting up at 5:30 in the morning, getting to work, it's sort of just before 7, and then realizing you could have slept in for another half an hour. So it kind of sucks. Anyway, from experience. So I sort of classify myself as somewhat illiterate in some way, shape, or form. I'm definitely not very good at writing in any way. I can talk, I'm just not very good at writing. So one big thing for me is that if I wouldn't, one, be able to remember a script that we sort of worked through. So a big part for me was, and I think this is probably the big part that I stopped doing, or stopped sort of looking into video marketing until I sort of overcome it, was the teleprompter, which looks super Channel 9-ish or super professional, but it's actually pretty cheap. The teleprompter that you can sort of see here, so it basically, there's 2 parts to what you can see. The script that we do, we basically load it into, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute, just so I can demo a little bit for you. So hopefully everyone can see me now. So this is the iPad that I've got here. And what we do is we use a platform, which I'll share with you in a minute, and we upload our script. So you can sort of see this. We upload our script that we've got in here. And I believe this, this piece of software is called Prompt Smart Pro. We load it in. It connects with Google Drive, which is pretty cool. And what we can do is we press play. And what it will do, you can sort of see here that it will start sort of scrolling. Bad thing about it is that it's upside down and kind of sucks like that. The reason for that being is that the teleprompter that we've got here needs to sort of be upside down, whoops, this way around, in order for you to read it. I'm not too sure whether you can see that just yet, but in order for you to sort of read it, but you can kind of see that, which is pretty cool. That's how I managed to remember a whole script, and I've still screwed up. So don't get too annoyed or put off by the fact that you won't be able to remember a whole script. iPad, you can buy an iPad super cheap, or you can go ask the company or wherever for you to go ahead and purchase one. You've even probably got one at home. The teleprompter that you can kind of see here, so we're in Brisbane, and I bought this online. It's called a Prompted Max. Yep. I'm probably getting a little bit ahead of myself because of my slides. But the Prompted Max kind of comes with this stand, a piece of glass. The camera actually goes through here. So once you're back behind here, you won't be able to see it, but the camera sort of sits behind there. And then once the iPad's there, you can't actually see the camera itself. So it's quite easy to read. So that's kind of like one big thing for me that I guess kind of really made me feel a bit more comfortable, I guess, around doing video marketing. But I might just flick back to the teleprompter. Cool, hopefully everyone can see that now. So the teleprompter, I've probably covered a lot of this anyway. There are heaps out there. This is the one that I found that kind of like is a good one that sort of like fits us. Thank you, Neely. I've got a little comment there. But so the teleprompter that we've got here, basically, I went and did a bunch of research. This one I felt like was a really good quality one. It kind of fit what we needed, and also kind of like really sort of made me feel good about like overcoming my fear of it. I've got the link here. Again, I will email out this link to you. This costs $270, maybe $300. You can buy it online. You can buy it, I think we put it at, what was it, like Red? Dragon Image in Brisbane. But you can buy it online. If you just Google Prompted Maxi, it'll give it to you there. I think there's some sales on eBay. So if you want to check that out, you can. So we purchased an app called Prompt Smart Pro, which is the one that I showed you. This one's really cool. It connects with Google Docs. So, Liv, who does all the script writing, she can basically get them all done, put them onto our Google Drive, and then basically connect your Google Drive and then just basically load them up there. Super easy. I've never paid $40 for an app before, but I did it and I wouldn't look back, because for somebody that gets quite shy about in front of the camera, I definitely gravitate to the teleprompter, and it just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, I guess. One really cool thing is some people like to speak fast. There's some days I am super pumped to be talking and I'll go through it. There's some days that I'm still waking up at 7 a.m. and I'm speaking a little bit slower. There is the option on the cog up there to actually set the speed, the scrolling speed, so I can go faster or slower. It does have a function in there that actually listens to your voice and then scrolls it. It's super dodgy. Definitely don't turn that on because it's screwed up so many times, but definitely don't do that. But you can set the scrolling speed, which is pretty cool. Again, I'm sort of ahead of myself there. So for this one here, this teleprompter didn't come with a tripod. So you can sort of check eBay, buy 3 or 4. Or I'd suggest just sort of buying enough tripods just for each of the equipment. Obviously, you're going to have your camera, so you're going to need a tripod for that. You've got your teleprompter, so you're going to need a tripod for that. The lighting comes with tripods, so essentially you might just need to buy 2 extra tripods in order to sort of work. One thing which you can't see here, I actually used one of my, wait, I'll show you here. I actually used one of my tripods, which is one like this one here, and I use that for our lighting one because it sort of sits to the side. So my recommendation, if you've already got a tripod, just kind of use it, but don't. The tripods online that you can buy, in again, this one's kind of a bit more heavy duty because I don't want to break my camera. This one here is a little bit more flimsy. I mean, $30, $40, that's kind of all you're paying. It's not necessarily going to be a whole lot of money to get started. So you shouldn't have any excuses why you shouldn't start video. Right, let's continue on. One question I'm going to pull a poll up as well. I kind of wanted to ask a poll, and it's going to be on the left-hand side, I do believe, is one question I'm interested in hearing from you guys is where do you guys find that most of your leads are coming from? So there's questions in there about paid ads, Google ads or Facebook, organic traffic, cold calling, referrals, email marketing, but it's also cool if you just don't know. So in the chat pane, if you just want to let me know where most of your leads are coming from, just so we can share it with everybody to sort of see where they're coming from. And I'll sort of share with you where our leads are coming from, and because of video marketing. Bet you guys can guess. So I'll leave that open for a little bit and I'll keep talking. Once the poll's closed, I will share it with everybody, but feel free to answer. All right. One thing I did mention is you will need an iPad for this one. There are actually apps out there that you don't need a teleprompter. It'll actually download the app and then you can talk to the camera straight away, like straight in front of you. So if you're like, I don't know, if you can't afford or you can't get it passed or you can't get the cost approved for a teleprompter and you do have an iPad or an iPhone, you can actually just download this app. I don't know what it is, search the App Store. You actually download the app and you can just sort of talk into the camera and the script will scroll past as well. I looked into that option. We already had a camera, so I kind of basically went down this option. I would recommend this, but again, if you can't sort of get it through the keeper, you can definitely download the app as well. All right, content, where to start. I'm going to share with you where we started because that's pretty much most of the questions that we get asked is, okay, where do I start? What do I start talking about? Before I get started on that, I'm going to close the poll and closing it. I'm just going to share the results. So we're seeing that 50% of all of the leads that are coming in from everybody here is coming usually from referrals. Some of them, 25% is from paid ads, 12% is from organic traffic, and then 12% are also saying, I don't actually know. Give me a call. I can help you figure out where you're getting them from, but there's some results there for you. So we're going to get started into content now. Just being mindful that we're kind of 42 minutes. We've probably got a little less than 15 to go. Also, just letting everyone know, I will share this with you post as well. So just letting you know. So a good place to where to start for content is always start, if you have got no idea where to start, is existing blogs. That's where we started as Neighborhood because I basically got sort of tossed the question as like, where do we start? So we started with our blog. So we looked at our blogs and said, you know what, there's probably a considerable amount of people out there that aren't going to read it. It's going to be like too long, didn't read. I'm not interested in reading this whole blog. So the strategy that we had when we first did it was like, let's get these blogs transcribed into videos so that if anybody's like us or anyone's like me, then I'm just going to watch the video and still be able to digest that content because I'm not necessarily a reader. So we have over 70 blogs. So what we've done is we've taken those blogs, re-edited them a little bit. So we actually started doing it unedited, and it was super weird because we were sort of talking in written form. So we started editing them slowly, but instantaneously I've got 70 pieces of content that we can already run the ball with. And the good thing about it is that we're starting to share this not only on our website and embedded, but we're sharing it on Facebook, we're sharing it on LinkedIn, we're even sharing it on YouTube. We've got people coming through our site from YouTube, which I didn't even think was a possibility. And now we're having these people come through. So, if you have got content, if you have got blogs, my suggestion would be is just to start the rolling with some of the highest performing blogs that you currently have. And I think you'll find if you utilize the channels on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and whatever else you got, you'll start seeing some traffic and some results come in there as well. One other thing that I always say to people do is to talk directly to sales and what questions are getting asked often. People are often looking for those questions that they're getting asked online. So speak to sales and say, if you've got a sales team of, some of our clients have got a sales team of 24, some of them have a sales team of 2, some of them have 1. Ask them to come back to you with the top 5 questions they get asked daily. That's a really good start because I guess that would be able to, 1, from an organic sense, but 2 as well, you could probably use it in your sales enablement strategy as well to help push through those leads further down the funnel. View analytics. So where is the organic traffic going? So if organic is all kind of coming to a certain amount of pages or a certain amount of blogs, my recommendation is try to actually write some more stuff on that, because if some people are looking for that, 1, it's going to boost your SEO juice overall, but also YouTube's a pretty big search engine. I think it's the second or third biggest search engine as well. So being able to put that content there, if it's just as good going on Google. It's going to go just as good on YouTube. Make sure you link back to your website in the description. If all else fails, whiteboard a few ideas, and then usually write about an 800 to 1,000 word blog and edit that script for SEO so that your SEO, your content, and your video, you're all sorted out. So all else fails, write a blog, and then edit it slightly for a script, then all of a sudden you have a blog, and then you also have a script. So if you want to kind of get started, just to not overwhelm yourself, just get started with one a week and set some time, come in early, write the script or take a blog and rewrite it, and then basically just get comfortable with doing sort of like one a week. My suggestion would be don't do anything less than one a week. I think that if you can do 4 videos just to keep things up and going, 4 per month, I think you'll be in a really good position. You don't want to always like kind of keep pushing it back because consistency is really key with this one. So go ahead and at least do. We're doing, I think, 3 or 4 a week now, which is pretty cool. That advice was given to me by George B. So, I think he's doing like 4 or 5 a day. So, but he's seen some really great results. All right, so the last part of the content that I sort of wanted to cover as well was the editing. So the editing side of things is probably where I reckon the biggest one is going to come up and where a lot of people sort of will struggle for that. So how do you edit blogs into scripts? What's the framework? So what I to do is usually if okay, I'll be honest with you. A question that we have got from Michaela here is, how do I edit blogs into scripts and what is the framework? The way that we did it, was I sort of started to read the scripts directly, or I started to read the blogs directly. As I was talking, it just didn't feel right. And I think that what potentially a really good piece of feedback I would say is that get the blog that you've got and just read it into the mirror, read it into the phone. You'll be able to sort of really work out what's a natural speech, like what actually sounds natural, and then you can edit on that. To be honest with you, I don't think there's any other sort of framework that we've got. Obviously, at the start, we've got to come up with the problem. We do that essentially with a lot of our blogs. So the framework with our blogs is, one, we need to identify what the problem is straight up so that we can engage in that user. Then we start to, in the body copy, I guess, really sort of go through in a lot of detail about unpacking that and how to give value back to that person consuming that content. The last part is about sort of recapping everything again and confirming the problem that they've got. At the end of it, and this is completely nothing to do with video marketing, but you should always have a CTA that's contextual to what you're talking about so they can get in touch. That's essentially the framework that we've got from a blog. It's just about essentially making it so that it's naturally spoken. And I think for us, if I give you any personal advice, is basically that is a bit of trial and error on our part. So good question. Thanks for asking. I'll move to the editing side of things, which is probably I'm lucky enough because I used to be an editor down at Warner Brothers Roadshow Studios on the Gold Coast for a couple of years. So I was pretty lucky for that. But there are a few things that I can suggest just to get you going. There are definitely recommendations, and I'll give you a recommendation for a company, and I'll give you recommendations if you cannot use a company and you have to do it yourself. iMovie comes free with Mac. If you're not on Mac, you should. But iMovie is a free program that you can use. Get used to it. I can't stress this enough that this stuff that you want to do, and if you are on a learning curve, either do it early in the morning or do it later in the evening. Don't do it during the day when phone calls are happening and you're just getting thrown around left, right, and center. My recommendation is that if you kind of want to learn and become more comfortable with this, make sure that you kind of have some time that you're able to actually consume this and actually get used to it. Don't do it middle of the day, just from experience. So Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere is kind of like what we use. There are a lot of tutorials online on how to use it. For what we do, it's not necessarily a Hollywood production, nor is it a big one. There's also a thing called Adobe Rush, which is kind of like an easier version of that. You can Google it, Adobe Rush or Adobe Premiere. Use the two. So you can find someone online to do it. A good friend of the agency is Craig. He basically uses somebody, I think it's in America or overseas. I think he jumped on Fiverr. I think for like $100, they edit it all together. They do like little subtitles, little animations, and do all that sort of stuff. There are people out there, Upwork, Fiverr, all of those places that you can do it. Usually, if you find someone that you really engage with and like, you can just continue using those yourself. That being said, you can actually get people to go ahead and make those things for you, and you can actually use it in Premiere. There are different, I'll recommend somebody that we use. Obviously, our videos that we use aren't animated at the moment. It's a part of our continual process of learning. But I will note it again, start small and get better over time. And don't try and make the video perfect on the first go. So just get better and better through time. Because I know ours aren't to the level of what I expect it could be perfect, but I feel like every single month that we move on, we're getting better at the content, we're getting better at the production, we're getting everything like that. Michaela sort of asked, do you recommend outsourcing editing? I've been learning Final Cut Pro and Headliner for social media videos. It just depends, I guess, for that question. I think it just depends on a few things. One, the amount of video that you are shooting and the available time that you have throughout your day. There are actually some really cost-effective people out there and agencies out there overseas. Probably not the Australian dollar and the US dollar is how it's performing at the moment. You know what? It's absolutely going to cost you nothing to go out there and go onto Fiverr or whatever and show them what you want and get a few quotes, and most of them will do a few samples for you. If you can spend more time on the content and time on the production or the editing, that would be my recommendation. I'm lucky enough to have Liv, who works here, that helps me out with the script writing, and I shoot it all. We actually taught her how to edit it as well. So I'm lucky enough that I can go ahead and present it. But if you are time poor, or you're a one-man band, or you sort of not a lot of people in your department, just go and reach out to a few people and just sort of see what options are out there. It costs nothing to get a quote. And a lot of the work's out there, reviews and things like that. So I would recommend it so that you can focus a little bit more actually on the content or the content strategy that you do. Hopefully that answers your question, Michaela. Distribution, just be mindful. We've got about 8 minutes until the top of the hour, so bottom of the hour, my bad. So getting your content, get these if you don't have them already. So hopefully everyone's got a Facebook page and get a YouTube channel. It's kind of a little bit daunting about getting your own channel set up. There's a lot of YouTube videos on how to get it set up. Get it set up. Just start putting your stuff on there straight away. Again, you're not going to be overly happy with the first couple. Just get started. Open it up. LinkedIn, company page, and a Twitter. These are all 4 channels that you can push your content out to. That's not to say email marketing, embedding on your website, and all the other ones. But get these if you can. Well, you can. Just do it. Post on your company channels. Then share your post in your own personal network. This is a really, really big one that I see a lot of people not doing that they should be doing. If you're posting on Facebook, if you're posting on LinkedIn, you need to post from the company page, and then on your personal account, share that post. Two-prong approach. You're not only sharing the content, but you're sharing the page. You have a higher likelihood for them to follow the page and consume more of your content moving forward. So I'm going to add all of you guys onto LinkedIn, and I just want to make sure that any posts that you're doing that have to do with your work are shared from the company page, because it's the ecosystem. So make sure that you do that. It's very important. Very, very important. There's a long one here. Embed your videos into your blogs, website, emails, send them once per month to your database. Again, I'll go sort of the rule. Consistency is key. Get yourself to shoot. Well, if you can start, shoot 1 video. My recommendation is just to shoot 2 videos per week, and just do that for 1 month, and then move to 3 or 4 videos per week. The more you do, the more content, the more value you're putting out there, the more traffic you're going to get in there, the more times you're going to show up on search. Try to sort of embed what you do from a video perspective into your weekly cadence or your sprints of your fortnight, or even your monthly. Set yourself some KPIs to say, all right, what we're going to do 8 videos this month, and schedule them out in the calendar, schedule them out with the script writing, production, video. Just start putting it into. What I've done on my Google Calendar is in the mornings every Thursday, I'll come in at 7 a.m. and I'll shoot those videos. We'll shoot them, we'll edit them, we'll put them out. We don't have to worry about them ever again. So that's going to be my recommendation. Start with 2 per week and do that for 1 month. Then can you send me the videos, please? I'd love to see them. And I can give you feedback, and then you can give me feedback on what it's all about. The data. So review the data for each piece of content monthly, and then find out what's getting a lot of traction and what's not getting a lot of traction. That should basically be the guide of what content should be placed out and the importance for what that needs to be for the one moving forward. So we use a really good platform, and I highly suggest it to every person that is watching this webinar or the on-demand video webinar. Is that 23 is a really good platform, not only for a webinar side of things, but also for video metrics, video content and distribution. When we do a video, we upload it to 23. We literally click on share to YouTube, share to Facebook, and we have an embed as well. All the metrics from everywhere, from YouTube, Facebook, and even to our website come into one place. It has cookie tracking with our CRM, so we can see who's watching the video, how long they've watched it for, how many videos they've watched it for. It's actually really amazing, this platform, and I hope people discover it, because it's basically one platform that takes video holistically for the whole business in one place. Some really, really, really great people there. I was lucky enough to meet them in Boston last year. If you guys want a bit of an intro to the 23 guys, just give me a shout out or an email after this, and I can definitely hook you up with those guys. But I highly recommend you, at least if you are looking to move into video, just to definitely have a look at this platform. Some things to note. That was us yesterday. Live with her comms on. So once you've reviewed the data, then start the month again. Number 2, remember to always give value. Help the prospect or the audience with the problem. This isn't an opportunity for you to sell your services. This is an opportunity for you to deep dive into the problem that you solve and give them 70% of the solution of what you want to do. 9 times out of 10, everybody's not going to go and execute 100%, and they're going to come back to you and say, hey, can you help us with that problem? So remember to always give value, always be giving more than what they expect. Always offer a CTA on the page or in the video, like a link in the description or something along those lines. Super important, I think. Any content that you're producing should have a CTA. If you're not, I'll pull you up on it, but you definitely should be having a CTA on everything that you do. So I get feedback from colleagues, from my parents, from my partner, from anybody that's sort of like doing the content. I think that's super important, because these are the people who are going to give you the honest feedback. We had some feedback, which was really good last time on last webinar, saying that the audio was really crappy. Also, the camera stuff wasn't good. So I'm not too sure whether you can, hang on a second. So, I mean, we've taken that feedback alone, and we've kind of got, we've got lighting here, and we've kind of like done a whole bunch of stuff, got a new camera, new webcam to make sure that it looks good. So this is the feedback that we get personally, just to make sure that every single time we do a webinar or a video production or whatever that might look like, we're always inching a little bit better and better every single time. All right, just about there. Being mindful that we are coming up to the hour. Consistency is key. Stick to the plan and stick with it. Put it in the calendar and make sure that you're consistently sticking to it. Please make sure you do it. Set a time each week to shoot. I do afternoons on, well, I do mornings now, actually. I do mornings. This was written last week. I do mornings on Thursdays, but for a little bit longer. I used to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, so now I'm able to fit a little bit more in. So that's our new little camera, new little monitor that we've got the other day. But I thought I'd share with you some of the plans that we've got, and hopefully maybe you can sort of take that back into your business to sort of try and do. So our plans are, so our animation's in production at the moment, and it's going to make our videos look a whole lot better. So the little thing that pops up the side, it says Trav, Managing Director, whatever, that sort of stuff, and also the logo swish thing, I think that I kind of had at the start of the webinar. We're all starting to do that at the moment. I'll share with you our contact that we've got. He's awesome, really great at what he does. So we're doing the animation side of things just to make everything look a little bit more professional. The guy that I was talking about, arigadostudio.com, his name's Yoel. I actually just reached out to him, I think it was on Fiverr or something like that. He's a company in Venezuela, cost-effective, high production quality. Everything looks really, really good, and they're just a really great bunch of people. So if there is some animation stuff that you want to do, have a chat to him. He can do full 2D, 3D, all that sort of jazz. But we use this guy, and we've currently got the animation in production. We're extending out our production to do HubSpot-specific content, and then send that specific content out to our HubSpot customers. So we've been doing it. It's our second month in now. And that's a really sort of like, I think, a testament to video about contextual marketing, that we're, contextually marketing a specific product to certain people about a certain topic itself. We're interviewing our customers for case studies to help give context into what we do, because we've got this camera here. We're doing strategy videos, how best to attack problems within our business, and continue to add video to all of our blogs moving forward. So for every blog, I think we publish 2 blogs a week. So that means we need to sort of like double time so that we hurry up and put video on all of our blogs moving forward. And we also now do agency monthly updates. I think if you're actually in this, you get the monthly updates. The engagement rate for that has been unreal. Like, the click-throughs are a whole lot bigger. The engagement, I can see when you guys are watching the video how much percentage that you watch it. If you skip it, I can see that's all on the 23 platform. So the engagement's definitely got up, and our webinars and our video content's getting consumed more and more month on month. So some takeaways. Just be mindful, it's now 1 hour and 2 minutes. You don't need a lot of money to get started for video. It doesn't have to be perfect. Consistently, you can improve. Start small and grow bigger through time. So get some feedback from some friends and family. Add animation to give it a sense of professionalism. You can speak to Yoel. I'll send his details after this. Use a platform like 23 to distribute video and monitor the data. You're able to jump on. I will send through an email after this just with links to their platform as well. And have fun doing it. It's better than most things that you kind of do within your business. So this kind of like this webinar, I'm kind of a little bit nervous when we first started, but you kind of get quite comfortable with it and have a bit of fun with it. It shows the personality of your business as well. That's me doing a thumbs up. It kind of wraps, I guess, up the presentation. What I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to go through the questions. Also, if there is any other questions that people have. So I'm going to share with you, Michaela has kind of come up to me and sort of said, can you let me know the post-webinar program that you're used to run this? Oops, I've got your email address up there. Sorry about that, Michaela. So again, we use the post one. It's called 23. We've also integrated with HubSpot as well. It's got a native integration with it. It's super, super, super epic, and we use it. So I know a question I got from Dominic. Keen to see what needs to be done to get all this set up with the equipment. What's on my essentials list? I'll send you the deck after this so that you can get all the links that you need to. Another question I got was, do you have LinkedIn live beta access? I don't, but that would be really cool, and I'll definitely hit them up for it as well. But I was just going to ask, is there any other questions before we kind of like wrap things up here? Hopefully, I've kind of given you guys a bit of an idea around, I guess the platform. I guess what we do for video marketing, our journey into video marketing, and I guess where we see the next couple of months doing. I can definitely tell you that the engagement has gone up quite considerably. I can tell you that the more qualified leads have been coming through. It's easy to have conversations, and generally we're just talking more to people, and I guess we're getting it out there a little bit more. So overall, I see the return on investment being quite considerable because like I'm starting to have a lot more qualified conversations with a lot more people. So I've been sort of like into month 2 or 3 into our video marketing journey, and I'm already starting to see results. So I'm really just sort of see the next couple of the next couple of months on what that looks like for me, and we'll share that with you in video form as well. So what I think that kind of wraps us all up. If I haven't got any more questions, If you have got any questions, I believe my email address is just on the screen here at the moment. tw@nvh.co. You guys are all automatically signed up to our video updates and things like that, so you'll definitely be informed about all of the value stuff moving forward. One question I did get from Dominique as well is, what's your recommendation for filming locations if the office isn't very picturesque? We actually started shooting downstairs. I just went for a walk and had a look through the camera. It kind of needs to be a place that obviously has, I guess, not a lot of noise. But my recommendation would be just sort of look around, I guess, the whereabouts that you might be, or even sort of sit on a couch and have something and sit in a couch and do it from that way. One thing I didn't mention is like microphones. We had this issue because the microphones were kind of really crappy. This one here is called a lapel microphone. Yeah, there it is, lapel mic. You can find these on eBay. You look sort of semi-professional because you've kind of got them here. This just plugs into the camera like that. So it's it definitely seems like it's a lot. The sound is a lot better when using this as well. Kind of traveled off on a bit of a tangent there, but hopefully, if you're in the office, if there's a couch or something that you can do, just try that. And Dominic, if you want to give it a crack and send me through, and I can give you some feedback on it, I'll be more than happy to. Cool. All right. Well, this wraps up the how to get started with video marketing with Neighborhood. Hopefully, you guys got a lot of value from it. Again, if you've got any questions, just shoot me an email. I'm always here, happy to help out. But hopefully, you guys can get started with video marketing. Make sure that you guys send me the videos that you do. I'd love to see them. I'd love to sort of start getting some of your own video marketing. But thanks again, guys, and I hope everyone's staying safe with the whole coronavirus stuff. We're definitely focusing on video marketing a little bit more, that people are going to be at home. So it's a really good opportunity if people are going to be at home to focus on video marketing or even go live. So again, if there's any questions around that, just shout. But stay safe, everybody, and thanks for coming.